Hey guys, back in the summer of 2021, I had the chance to sit down and chat with business coach, music producer, and CrossFit enthusiast Chris Atwell. I've known Chris for quite a few years through the music industry, so it was great to reconnect with him since he's launched his new business coaching program, Mindset Conquest. I've since become a client, and he's really been helping me develop my business and work on my mindset. I feel like I've come a long way, even since we shot this video. Check it out, and if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button, click the notification bell, because I'll be dropping many more videos with other Canadian entrepreneurs like this. Stay hungry. Let's go.
Yeah, Mo Littles, what's good? It's Drew. Yeah, I'm only here for the night, so baby, let's do this right, because you know that I'll be gone in the morning.
I'm here with Christopher, also known as Atwell. Music producer, father, coach, athlete, a lot of other things. You know, we kind of knew each other from a music background. We're reconnecting kind of on a personal growth tip. It brought us together. So I'm happy to have you here today, man. Yeah, thank you,
man. Thank you for having me. This is really cool.
Appreciate it. So again, yeah, just back to a little bit about yourself. You're originally from Barrie, am I right?
Yeah, well, I consider myself from Barrie because my parents moved there in the mid 90s.
Okay.
And for me, Barrie kind of became my home. Prior to that, I lived on military bases. My father was Army sort of career man, and we grew up being posted all around the country every year or two of my life until I was about 17, at which point we ended up in Barrie, and I spent a lot of years in Barrie. I finished high school there. I went to college there. I've got a lot of good friends there, and my parents and my brother and his family are still there. So even though I'm not there, yeah, I'm kind of from Barrie. It's kind of my home.
Right. Yeah. So that's how I always would think of where you're from. And we definitely have connected through music throughout the years. I was trying to think. I don't even know where we first connected or first met or where that would be at. Do you know?
I'm pretty sure, looking back, we probably met at a show that you were doing at the little, what was that place beside the Rocks nightclub? Remember, there was like a little kind of club right beside the Rocks nightclub in Barrie. Yeah. And I think I was performing, you were performing. It was like the first time we crossed paths. It was probably in the 2008, 2009, maybe 2010 range.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Around that point, because I remember meeting you then. Yeah.
It's gonna bug me what the name of that place.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so yeah, that's it. So we go back a few years now, and that's awesome. So you've been into music. You've been a music producer, artist, and now you've kind of you've grown up a little bit, as have I. You're a father. You're also an athlete, right? You were really into CrossFit and stuff like that. Are you still doing CrossFit?
Yeah, I am. Not at a competitive level.
Okay.
Right now, but I'm still training, quite a few times a week.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Staying fit.
And so you're not necessarily telling people that you're doing CrossFit as much as you were?
Yeah, at this point. What are you alluding to there, Morgan?
No, it just seems like one of those things. Whenever anybody gets into it, they let you know.
Yeah, well, it's the joke is, how do you know somebody does CrossFit?
Yeah,
well, they're going to tell you, right?
Yeah.
So, I started CrossFit in 2016, fell in love with the sport, got really into it, and but most recently, under certain circumstances, I kind of decided to chill a little bit.
Okay.
Take it back.
Yeah, and so do you want to get into those circumstances at all?
Sure.
So tell us about it. I know a little bit. You mentioned it to me, but I don't know the details. So
started competing in cross. Yeah, I think we might lose connection. There we go.
Yeah.
So I started competing in CrossFit right. I was going to a local gym, training, getting involved in local competitions in the GTA Toronto area, and I won a with some friends of mine and team comps and stuff like that. One was the Element X competition, which was held at Downsview, the hangar in Downsview. It was like one of the biggest comps in Toronto back in 2019. Our team took first place, which was like, really awesome. It means I was going places with the sport. My training was paying off. I was enjoying it. So I decided to step it up in 2019, even further after that win.
Yeah, it looks like we lost you there a little bit. There we go. Is that
There we go. Yeah, sorry. You can hear me now?
Yeah, you're good. You know what? That might have even been, were you freezing or was I freezing?
I think we were both freezing.
Yeah. My internet connects to my dad's internet as well sometimes. He lives upstairs, so it's not as strong. Anyways, back to it.
Right. Yeah, so started taking training really seriously in 2019, and then the pandemic hit in 2020. And at the I was going to the gym, so it threw my training for a loop. And what I decided to do was I'm going to convert my CrossFit gym. So early 2020, my career, and what better way to spend with your family for a year than to work out every day. So I got some serious programming from my coach, really stepped up my game, trained really hard all through 2020. And then in 2021, the goal was I was going to compete in the CrossFit Open. And my real goal was to make what's called the age group qualifiers, because there's steps to get yourself to the CrossFit Games. I made the age group qualifiers in March. I was like, hell yeah, this is amazing. I qualified. And I qualified at a high level. I was pretty impressed and happy with my performance. And then the third wave hit. So, things were starting to open up in March, and I was competing at the gym again or doing those virtual comps at the gym, because everything was done virtually this last year. And I kind of, it kind of threw me for a loop, because I wanted to prepare for this age group qualifier, because the next step from there is the actual CrossFit Games. And, there's money on the line. You've got to have, the training locked in, because if you want to compete at that level, it's very serious. It's heavy duty, lots of volume. You got to increase your cardio capacity and your strength. So, third wave hits, and I start struggling in my mind with, well, I don't know if I'm going to do this age group qualifier, because one, I can't train at the gym. The gym's closed down again. Two, I don't have all the equipment at home that I need to train, because you need things like 15-foot ropes, or one thing that's called a GHD, a sit-up machine, a rower, for example. I don't have all those things. So I was up and down from March to May. In my mind, I just wasn't fully engaged with the training. I was in 1 week, and then the next week I was out, and I literally decided 3 or 4 times that I was going to do it or I'm not going to do it. I was going to do it. I'm not going to do it. But with the support from some friends and my coach, the thought was, hey, I earned this. I earned this opportunity, because, they only pick the top 10% in the world to do these age group qualifiers. There's 20,000 people in my age category worldwide, and I made, the top 1,500. And the thing is, it's true. I did earn it. Yeah, that's impressive, man. I had no idea that you were that good. Yeah, thanks. I know you worked hard at it, but I had no idea, obviously, yeah, it's there's a lot involved, right? You've got to have the grit You got to have the gymnastics down, the Olympic lifting down, the overall strength and cardio. So, I was working around all those things, trying to get good at all of them, and it started to pay off. So make a long story short, when it came to the actual dates to do the online qualifiers, the gyms were closed down, and I was a little weary because I knew they started releasing the workouts that needed to be done. And I was like, I haven't trained on these things. Like this is going to be tough. This is going to be really tough.
Yeah.
And it's a 4-day competition. Each day you've got to do a workout or two that they announce, and it's high volume, and very fast, very fast. Usually the workouts are graded on the time for completion, the amount of weight you lift, and the amount of reps, right? So, give you an example. The first workout was, it was 15 handstand push-ups, followed by 15 shoulder to overheads with 50-pound dumbbells, followed by 15 cal row, 5 rounds for time, 15-minute time cap.
Wow.
Okay. So at the end of the day, you end up doing, 75 reps of handstand push-ups, 75 reps of shoulder to overhead. And, it gasses you. You get tired, and then you got to do another workout the next day, and then the next day, and then the 4th day. So things were going good. I crushed the first workout, and, I should take a step back. Because the gyms were closed, to do the qualifier, you got to have the equipment. So you got to find a location with the equipment.
Oh, okay.
Because you got to film it, right? And you got to have a qualified judge. So there's a loophole in Ontario. If you get a note from your doctor that says that you need to work out at a gym for mental health reasons,
okay,
you can gain access to a gym.
Okay.
So, I went and saw my doctor, got access to the gym.
Nice.
And legally I was allowed to under the circumstances because all the gyms were locked down, right?
Mm-hmm.
So day 2, kicked my ass. Day 3, came back strong. Day 4, I wake up and I can't move my body. I couldn't bend my arms, and I start pissing brown like Coca-Cola.
Wow.
I'm in so much pain. I'm hunched over, and I'm going, what is going on? This is insane. I got one more day of comp to do. And I call one of my buddies, and he's like, dude, I think you have rhabdo.
What is it?
Rhabdo. So rhabdo is rhabdomyolysis. It's a syndrome that's caused by overexertion of the muscles.
Wow. Okay.
So the pain, I ended up getting into the hospital with a severe case of rhabdomyolysis. And then I spend 6 days in the hospital worried about what the heck's going on. There's a fear of kidney failure. I'm hooked up to an IV. I can't see my family because it's COVID lockdown.
Jesus.
And, pretty much I could have died is how bad it was. Because when you look at what they measure in your system, what happens is you've got the skeletal muscle that when you work out naturally breaks down, right? We all know that we tear our muscles when we train and then they rebuild themselves. Well, in this case, what happens is you train them so hard that they actually start to physically die, and they start to commit suicide on each other. And all those enzymes have to flush through your system. There's 2 ways you can get rhabdomyolysis. There's one from overexertion, and 2, if you end up in a car accident or something and your muscle gets crushed and all those muscle fibers die, you can get rhabdo that way as well. It happens a lot in accidents. So I gave it to myself, and my levels were at 85,000 at one point, and the normal level is 0. So the doctors were very concerned. I was in a tremendous amount of pain, and, I ended up spending 6 days in the hospital, and that was a real rude awakening for me, man. It was, having that experience, changes a person. You come home, you see your family, and they were worried sick about you for 6 days. And you push yourself so hard that you put yourself in the hospital. So,
wow.
It changed me. It definitely was something that I reflect on occasionally and go, holy snap, I'm a lucky dude, that I'm still here.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you have any warning signs? Like, is it just something that happens, or?
Yeah, so the warning signs is the muscle pain and the color of your urine, right? I didn't see it or think about it the first 3 days. On the third day, I was in so much pain after the workout, but I thought, hey, you know what? I've been pushing myself really hard. You know, it's delayed onset muscle soreness, and I'm just sore and I need to recover. But looking back, my recovery, usually after a workout, a real intense workout, whether it's 15, 20, 25 minutes, I can recuperate in about one or 2 minutes so that I can jump back and do another one, because I train at that level all the time.
Yeah.
But this time it was different. And looking back, it was weird because my coach was like, hey, after that workout, why don't you just get on the rower and loosen up a little bit, cool down. And I grabbed the rower and I couldn't even hold on. I was like, no, this hurts too much. And I just went home. So now looking back, definitely there's signs, but my ego was in the way. It was saying, hey, tough it up, stick it through. Yeah. You're going to be fine. And I wasn't listening to my body. So,
yeah, well, that's what I was going to say is when you were back and forth, like, oh, I should do it, I shouldn't do it. That might've been something inside you saying, no, maybe you shouldn't do it, but it's, that's hindsight, right?
Yeah. And it's funny how the universe works. That experience, is teaching me a lot about listening to the signs that are coming.
Yeah. Well, you still there?
Stand firm. I kind of went back and forth with it, and I ended up hurting myself.
Yeah. So when you were in the gym, you got access to a gym. Were you there alone? Did you have your coach with you? Do you have people around you, or are you in there filming that yourself?
No, I had you have to have a certified judge, so I had one guy with me. Yeah.
So, but is he's not like a regular member of your team?
Yeah, he's my trainer, my coach.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Because that's one thing I was going to say is that's got to be tough to, like, sure, you get access to the gym, but you haven't been training regularly. You don't have necessarily the same people around you. It's different when you're facing something like this alone, right? To stay motivated and keep that same kind of, push with, if you don't have that within you, that's got to be, I mean, I guess you if you don't have it within you, external factors aren't necessarily going to ever give it to you the same way.
Yeah. Like I've always had the ability to push myself outside of my comfort zone and to levels that most people are like, what the heck are you doing?
Well, yeah. Levels that...
And when you put my coach with me, of course, I'm going to push it that extra further, right? Because, he's motivating me. Right. Yeah. And after one of the workouts, I knew that workout pummeled me. He looked at me and he said, dude, I know that workout pummeled you, but you pushed through and you did a great job. You know, looking back, that's probably the one that hurt me.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But that's, that's the whole mindset that I struggled with in the past, that I've recognized a lot more, is that sometimes if you have a goal in mind, you can claim victory and you don't have to go past that goal. Right. Yeah. Right. It's like, celebrate the small win. Why push further? Right. But sometimes your ego gets in the way. And at that point, my ego was in the way and I was in so much pain, but I just kept moving. Anyway, because I wanted to win. But my original goal was just to make that qualifier.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I did that. And I celebrated that. But then I decided, you know what, now I want to win. Right. And
I mean, that's how, goals often work. And so it's not that was a bad thing, but yeah, you didn't pay attention to those signs maybe. Yeah. And does your ego, is it narrated in Arnold Schwarzenegger's voice? So that, he's telling you, if you're not puking at the gym, then you're not really working.
Yeah, if I'm not puking, I'm not working hard enough. That's the way it goes. Yeah.
So you got out of the hospital.
Yeah.
And how did you feel? What happened next? What transpired?
Well, my wife picked me up. I was overjoyed to see my wife, and I got treated as an outpatient for several weeks. I had to go and get blood tests taken and everything checked every couple of days, couple times a week, and to make sure that everything was really leveling out. So that was a process. The first day I was super happy, you know, I felt over the moon, but a couple days later, I realized that my routine is really taking a hit here. I was training 2 to 3, 4 hours a day regularly, part of my daily routine, and then that got taken away from me. And that's how I stayed cool during COVID.
Yeah.
That's what I was doing to pass the time. And that's what was making me get through the frustrations. And I was actually achieving personal objectives at the same time.
Yeah.
And that got taken away from me. I was even told, "No, you can't work out for a while."
Yeah.
And I was like, what? So I got pretty low, and I started, I guess envy got in the way a little bit, because I look at all these guys who finished all the workouts, and I was like, that should have been me. You guys are probably doing steroids. And, I really got really crummy, really depressed. And then I started feeling weak about myself, and I was getting angry at everything, and passing blame. And like, had they not programmed that workout in the competition, I would have, done better, blah, 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 blah. Like, my ego was just chirping at me.
Mm-hmm.
I was feeling envious of the guys who made it to the next level. And that really sucked.
Yeah.
It really sucked. It got to the point where I was so depressed, and I didn't realize this until I started yelling at my kids. And I don't yell at my kids, right? But I was like, I started yelling at my daughter, and then my wife was like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like, what's happening here?" So I started to realize, yeah, I need help. So that was a few weeks now. It'd been 2-3 weeks since it happened. I was getting really upset, and I tried to find a therapist through looking online and through some services that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
And all these therapists were booked solid because of COVID.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? Like, I can't even find somebody to help me right now. Apparently, like, there's a lot of people going through a rough time at that point, right? So then I said, okay, I can spend another week trying to lock down a therapist and wait for calls back, or I can take care of this myself. And I'd read a book recently, 2 of them. I read The Power of Habit, and then I also read The Miracle Morning. And both of them talk about how regular habits, right, can really spark change in a productive and powerful way, right? The Power of Habit talks about how there's 3 pieces to a habit. There's the cue, right? And then there's the routine itself, and then there's the reward. So for me, every day, after I'd finish work at a certain time, I'd have lunch, and then that was the cue. I finished lunch, I have a shake, energy shake, and then it was training. That was my routine. And then the reward was, yeah, I crushed that workout. That felt great. And I'm on my way to going to the CrossFit Games, right? Even though I look back, I was far from it. Right. I had a lot of hope, but who knows, maybe one day as a master's athlete, because I am, I'm in my 40s.
There you go.
And then the Miracle Morning is all about setting yourself up for success in the morning by utilizing a specific set of things and creating a routine. So what he talks about, Hal Elrod, in that book is, if you take time for yourself in the morning, then you can be ready to take on the day in a different way than if you just get up late and you're running around and chasing your tail and you're stressed out and you're not prepared. So I realized, okay, my routine in the afternoon has been compromised. I can't train at the same level anymore. I've got to change my routine. And with the kids running around and being locked up in the house because of COVID, I realized, hey, I'm just going to start getting up earlier, and I'm going to change my routine. And instead of focusing on exercise, I'm going to focus on mental exercise, mental health.
Yeah.
So I started waking up every day 6 a.m. First thing I do, I get up, and this comes right out of the book. I get up, I splash cold water in my face. I have a glass of water ready. Boom, down that. I brush my teeth, and it's literally 6:02 by that point. And I do that because cold water in your face will wake you up.
Yeah.
I actually put my phone in another room so that when the alarm goes off, I actually have to get up and go to that room.
Yeah, I do the same thing.
And once I brush my teeth, then I go and I have an assault bike, which is basically a really crazy standalone bike.
Right.
And then I'll just ride it, but I'm not going to push myself super hard, you know, talking like 50, 75% for 15 minutes. But at the same time, I throw in a motivational podcast.
Nice.
Right. So I've got a couple that I really like. My favorite is the Mindset Mentor.
Okay.
And from Rob Dial. And he just gives you so many ideas and things that you can think about, you know what I mean? Like about how to create success and how to really determine and find out what is it that's going to fulfill you in life, right? But you got to think about these things. You got to take a step back. You got to think about it. So over the last like 3 months, I've been getting into this routine, and I'm discovering so much about myself because I'm actually thinking about this stuff.
Yeah. It's amazing.
And then once that workout is done, then I meditate for 10 minutes, and then I read for 10 minutes, and then I journal for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And through that process, man, I got out of that depression real quick.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Yeah. That sounds
because I started realizing I could control this stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And I was learning a lot about myself, and I reflected on all the shit that I learned from that experience at the same time. So I look back now, I'm happy that it happened. It's a weird thing. Yeah. You know, I almost died, but at the same time, I wouldn't be in the same mental space as I am today had that not happened. Right. In the last couple of months, so much has changed from a personal understanding and personal development standpoint that now I'm on another level. Like I'm building all these different plans for myself. I'm simplifying my life. I'm way in tune with my own ego and, you know, so many other things that I'm benefiting from because of it. So
that's amazing.
It's I'm actually thankful and grateful that it happened.
Yeah. I mean, it's incredible. You went from like, you know, one of the strongest points in your life to one of the lowest and weakest to being happy that all happened and finding a balance there. So it's interesting how that kind of can happen that way. Yeah.
You know, I thought CrossFit was fulfilling me, and it was from a certain standpoint, but that's not all I wanted in life. Yeah. And for that whole year and a half, it was filling the void of the other, you know, of me trying to figure out what was going to fulfill me.
Yeah. So, I mean, one of the, you know, we've always gotten along really well. I've always been just like attracted to you as a person because, you know, you've always positive, always a good time. You know, we've had some good times in Europe. We've had some good times in Canada. But you really, you know, more recently, what prompted this call was the positive content you've been putting out, the videos you've been putting out on a regular basis, talking about your morning routines, and just talking about a lot of the mindset stuff. So I just want to say I really appreciate that, because I'm really on the same sort of tip right now, and this is why I'm kind of creating this content now. But it's interesting to hear the backstory to what prompted all this kind of new, not that it's necessarily new, but you're really putting it out there and sharing it with other people, because, you know, that's a big thing. A lot of people have been going through things through COVID, and you don't know the effect that you may be able to have on somebody by putting that little video out in the morning.
Oh, well, I'm glad to hear that, man. Yeah. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. So that's awesome. And yeah, the fact that you talk about your morning habits and your morning rituals, I've been on the same. I get up, I'm at 6. I want to get to 5. I want to be part of the 5 a.m. club. It's a goal, but yeah, we'll see. We're working towards it, but
it's all about going to bed earlier, man. Exactly. You know, and with the kids and kind of the way the day goes, to get up at 5, you got to go to bed around 9, you know? Yeah. So it's tough.
It's true. So all that you've been through, so you work also as a business coach, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. So started this business coaching. It's called the Mindset Conquest. So really excited about that.
Yeah.
It's,
Well, tell
we're
me a little bit
kicking
more.
off next week.
Okay.
And really it's about helping business professionals, athletes, and artists in helping themselves create habits that are going to allow them to hit peak performance in their life.
Yeah.
So whether that's, an artist who's, struggling in certain things, but it has all these opportunities and knows that if they straighten themselves out and develop the right habits with the right coaching, then they could rock that stage 10 times better than if they woke up hungover every day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or that athlete who's, just
I think we lost your sound there.
what's going to take them to that next level of peak performance.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, as an artist, I know what it's like to have to get up there every night, and if you're hungover, it's not the same. You're not going to be 100%. So that goes, I'm in a kind of a new chapter in my life, in real estate and in business, and yeah, it translates over. You're never going to be 100% if you're not allowing yourself that balance. And I think you can be very successful now because you're not going to be a coach who's going to push somebody to their limit till they exhaust themselves and they deplete their muscles. You're going to obviously be able to push people to be at their peak performance, but you can't get to that peak performance without that balance and without that rest, right? Like I used to hashtag
That's right.
sleep. I no longer do that. Team sleep well.
There's three really important things. You got to make sure you're sleeping.
Yeah.
You got to make sure you're eating healthy. Yeah. And you got to make sure that your physical and mental strength is there, right? Those three pillars are going to help support all of those other objectives that you have in life. But that's just the start, right?
Yeah.
I think there's big value in truly understanding what are your own personal values. How often do people actually step back, reflect, and think about what their own values are? Right. Yeah. I started doing that after rhabdo, and man, like so much comes out.
Yeah.
How about writing down things like, what do you want to stop doing in life?
Yeah.
And why?
Well, that's powerful.
Right?
Right?
People don't write that stuff down.
Yeah. People might say, oh, I want to do this. I want to do this. But looking at what you don't want to do anymore, or the person you kind of don't want to be anymore, is just as powerful, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a big one. If you can stop doing things, I actually have this little notebook right here. I keep it in my back pocket. Yes. And, I write down every time I do something that I want to stop doing, I write it down. So I want to stop cutting people off when we're talking to each other. I have a habit of doing that. I don't know why, it's like, oh, I got to say this. Right. And it's like, I want to stop cutting people off. I want to stop staring at my phone all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't help. Right. I want to stop drinking 100%. Right. Yeah. So I've got pages and pages of things that I'm reminding myself, yeah, you know what? These are things that I'm not angry at myself for doing them, but I have the control. I have the ability to change the person that I am moving forward. And if you can identify what your objectives are, but in order to get to that objective, you have to cut shit out, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you got to stop doing things. And it's all about identifying the things that you need to stop doing. That's going to be very helpful in your journey.
Yeah. And it's almost counterintuitive for people to, I want to become something or I want to do something. But in order to do that, you have to stop doing things or cut things out, like you said. So it seems simple to just think about those things, but people don't do it. We're all so busy staring at our phone screens, like you said, or drinking, or, there's all these things that once you recognize them and acknowledge it, that's the first step to being able to take those steps towards changing them. So. Yeah.
Well, and it kind of goes beyond that too, because those are like things those are habits that I want to stop doing. But then also, as I'm starting my new business, I'm realizing that in order for me to give 100% focus in my new business, I've got to sacrifice other things.
Yeah.
Right. And one of those things is I've been mixing and mastering albums for years.
Yeah.
Right. But it's very time consuming. It's a very time consuming thing that I do. And I've decided that part of my journey is over. Right. Yes, I might do it as a favor occasionally for people. And of course, I love being creative. So it's still going to be there for myself. As a contract worker, as a business that I was running, I'm deciding that I can't do that anymore because it's too time consuming, so that I can give 100% focus on the other objective that I have in life.
Right.
So, and that's something that a lot of people I struggled with for a long time, is that I'm an entrepreneur. I want to run a music conference. I want to make my own albums. I want to mix and master for other people. I'm also going to have a day job. I've got kids. I want to train for CrossFit. And then all of a sudden you're stretched thin.
Yeah.
Right. So that focus is something that I'm helping people try to really zero in on and understand what do they need to do to get that focus. Right. Me included. I'm still learning as I'm going.
Yeah.
So.
No, I can relate to all of that.
Yeah.
So, where can, I know you're launching next week. So where can people find out more information? How can they get a hold of you? Where can they find you?
Yeah. So right now, just follow me on Instagram, Atwell Music. And the website will be up in, the next couple of months and all this stuff. But I'm pretty much posting my content there for now. Okay. I'm also on Facebook, Christopher Sean Atwell. But and on LinkedIn, Chris Atwell on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is something that I'm really starting to dive into a lot. I'm a business professional. I've got a great network on there, and I'm posting my content there as well.
Great. The Mindset Conquest.
Yeah.
Love it, man. This is great. So one last thing before we wrap up. You used to be in a group with Ill Vibe, correct?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. LOD Development. Yeah.
Blunts and Roses, right?
That one too. Blunts and Roses. That's right. Yeah.
And so correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't there a little legal issue with somebody else who had a name with roses in their band?
Yeah. Long story short, the whole concept of Blunts and Roses was to do remixes of classic rock songs.
Okay.
So we called it Blunts and Roses, a spinoff of Guns N' Roses. And of course, we did a cover, a remix of a Guns N' Roses song. And our artwork might have looked a little bit like Guns N' Roses artwork. So we launched this mixtape in 2011. It exploded. We did shows. And a few years later, we got a cease and desist letter from the lawyers that Guns N' Roses have, which kind of prompted Ill Vibe and I to go, okay, we better take everything off the internet here and avoid a big financial mess. So
the fact that Axl Rose caught wind of this is, that's a win in itself.
Yeah. At the end of the day, we gave the mixtape out for free.
Yeah.
So we weren't, that was our argument, was we didn't profit from anything. So
right. Nice.
And they left us alone.
Yeah. I thought that was a funny little story though. But yeah, man, I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with me today. Like I mentioned to you on the phone the other day, I plan to be a client of the Mindset Conquest as well, because all the things we've talked about, I'm constantly trying to progress and work on my mindset and reach new goals. So COVID's changed things for a lot of people, I think, and really changed my trajectory of where I was going. So yeah, I'm looking forward to connecting and building, man.
Oh, that's amazing, man. I look forward to working with you as well. And thanks for having me, man. I'm really excited for you and your new real estate journey. Yeah. I'm probably going to reach out to you as well when I'm looking to invest in some properties here across Canada. So, man, keep crushing life. And thank you for your time.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate it. You have a great afternoon.
Yes, sir. You too.